Monday at 9 o'clock, we all talk about what's on our mind. I'm G. Scott, Drew Barth, Frank Shires, and DB. We talk about what's on our mind, but we also open up to you. The Online Trading Academy text line is 98973. We've already got some texts. I'm going to read some of those texts that comes in, but I'll go ahead and start what's on my mind. And I was thinking about this morning on the treadmill. Usually when I get some weird thoughts, because all I'm thinking about is I hurry up and I want this pain to stop. It's usually what I'm thinking. But in this case, I was thinking about my mom. And as you guys can tell, I don't talk about it too much. I'm not really close with my mom. That's the truth. My mom's still alive. I'm just not really close. Why? All kinds of things. But nothing bad, like she didn't steal from me or, nothing like that. But I just think it was just been our relationship that we had coming up. And I used to always say that it always felt like my mom was against me. Like, for an example, you look on the news and you see like somebody has committed a crime and they're guilty and they've done all those things. And then you have the mom that sits there in the courtroom and she gets on TV and she's like, oh, I love my baby. I know he did the crime, but I love him or her, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't have that type of mom. I had the type of mom where, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a couple examples and then I'll give a point. One time I was copying a paper from a friend of mine. I was cheating on a homework assignment.
Okay.
My mom caught me. That was like fourth grade. She caught me. I got in trouble. We went to school the next day. She told the teacher what it is that I did.
Wow.
I thought that was the worst thing in the world. Like, what mom does that? That's what I thought.
Okay.
Then another situation where there was a fight and my cousin punched a kid, broke his glasses, right?
All right.
I was there laughing. I think I was in fourth or fifth grade, one of those. And it was just me and my cousin and this kid. So my cousin got suspended because the kid told on my cousin. Got it?
Yeah.
So my mom asked me what happened. I told her the story.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, well, they didn't suspend you? And I said, no, I didn't do anything. She said, well, you didn't stop it. I said, but I didn't do anything. She says, yeah, but they should have suspended you too. And she goes up to the school.
Oh, no.
And she tells them and gets on them on why they didn't get me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man. Did they suspend you?
No, they didn't suspend me, but I had to do an in-school suspension where I had to miss, which I felt was way worse.
Uh-huh.
My cousin got to miss school. I had to do in-school suspension for a week.
Whoa.
What's the win in that, right? At least when you're out of school, you're out of school.
Sure.
All right? I'm just going to give you two. I'll leave it at two stories. And then it was just the rest of my life of always a constant accountability. In a way, I always felt like she didn't care. But the reason why I was thinking about that this morning on the treadmill is because it's how I am today. Like, I don't care who you are, where you're from. I'm not saying I'm right, but if I feel it's right and I feel it's wrong, I have no allegiance to you, even if you're my own kids.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like confiscating the cell phones last week.
Right?
You just see right past it. You're like, look, here are the rules, and the rules were broken. It doesn't matter who you are or who your dad is or who you're connected to.
Doesn't matter.
You must answer for what you've done.
It does not matter.
Yep.
And I got to say, though it was hard and tough, I'm so grateful for that because of what it has done for me today. Like, I was thinking about that, just like all the countless stories that goes on, and it's how some justify, well, kind of let that go, and how over the last week I've had, you guys would be amazed at the arguments I get into. I get in arguments with folks that that are right-wing folks, and I get in arguments with those that are liberal. It's amazing. You want to know why? Because I'm not stuck on one side of things. I might be conservative about one thing, and I might be really liberal around some other things. I'm just not stuck on one side. But I don't want to get away from that. I just wanted to say that it sucked growing up a little bit with my mom because I felt like she didn't have my back. But it took years later to realize, like, man, it kind of helped.
So when are you going to tell her?
Yeah.
Because that's the next step.
I ain't going to.
That ain't going to happen?
Nah.
You're never going to give it to her?
I just ain't ready yet.
Because I will tell you.
I know.
You know what I'm going to say.
Yes, I do. I did. Yes, and I did think about that. I'll tell you when I thought about it today. I thought when my son goes to Columbus, Ohio, in January because he's going to graduate early. He'll go out to Columbus. Mm-hmm. Maybe during that time, I'll probably kind of like, hey, you know what?
Try and connect.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. What do you got, Brother Frank? Oh, by the way, I want to get to somebody's one text. I want to kind of get this out of the way. There was one, Drew, you saw it where it came in. What's on their mind? They said from the 206, how do you handle a girlfriend who has a drinking problem?
Oh.
Well, I'm going to be really simple, and we'll call it right now. Call a professional. I am not a professional, and I'm not going to play any games with that. I think that is a serious matter, and I hope that you guys get things straight on that. I am not going to play around with something like that. Call a professional and ask what they think.
That's probably the best advice you could give.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's true.
Brother Frank?
I had a delightful lunch with my daughter today. She took me I took her to a restaurant that she discovered that I already knew about and liked a lot.
Okay.
And in the course of having this lunch with her, we started moving into interesting topics, and there was a point at which she pointed out that I enjoy white privilege a great deal.
Mm.
She didn't go so far as to suggest that I was a white supremacist, and I don't think I am.
Wait. Your daughter said you enjoy white privilege?
Yes. And what do you say to that other than, well, yeah, I'm white and I'm in the society and
it's a privilege
it's
to
been
chat
a
with.
Privilege and but the interesting thing about it was that it's like she's throwing the arguments that we weren't arguing per se, but we were discussing things, and she was throwing that kind of stuff at it. And were it somebody else, I probably would have been miffed because that's a great way to short circuit any argument.
Right.
Because that is like a massive insult, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of it all, I thought, A, it was a good conversation, sort of, and B, I'm dealing with this 16-and-a-half-year-old person who's now, throwing some pretty big ideas my way and holding her own in a conversation, if that makes sense. It was really a very adult kind of experience.
It make you a little bit sad to feel like maybe that kind of the childhood part is gone?
No, actually very proud.
That's great.
It was a development that I said, okay, you have come along. I am dealing with a young woman here who is not shy about saying what she thinks. Mm-hmm. And it was a very nice moment. It was sort of like, okay, this is another step in the development that I expected to see happen, but it's great.
But it's great because you definitely could have taken that one of two ways. You could have either been like, it just kind of shut it down to sort of be like, no, you're going to be my child forever, and you're going to stay young and innocent forever.
And we're not going to talk about white privilege.
Right, exactly. Or you could just sort of accept the fact that, I've raised somebody who has a brain enough to think for themselves and to be able to kind of tackle some of these heady topics now. And fortunately, I get to be lucky enough to be on the receiving end of those and kind of guide those conversations.
And I really didn't mind. I'm probably in the latter. I wasn't angry. Well, let's just say I looked at the source and went, yeah, this is probably not a good time to get angry. Mm. But also, I was just kind of fascinated by it. It's interesting.
That's awesome.
Gee, you've had this experience, I'm sure, with Junior as he's.
Oh, you mean like Saturday?
What happened Saturday? What? Tell us about that. Didn't he go somewhere Saturday to do a football thing?
Down in Tacoma.
Okay.
How about this? Let's see if we have enough time.
Oh, tell us.
If we have enough time, I'll tell you guys what happened on Saturday. Go ahead, Drew, brother Drew.
Man, now I'm caught up in that one. You know, hey, give that thing, and because mine
Tell
is, tell it.
All right, really quick. Down in Tacoma, he had a football tournament, and there was a football game, and there were parents that were saying bad things to him.
Bad things as in race?
No race.
Okay. Just bad.
But they were just saying some bad things for it. But it was on the other side of the field.
Okay.
And so my son is kind of looking over, and he's kind of jawing back with them. And so I'm seeing there's adults. And so something was said. And then so one of the players from our team comes over and says, man, they're saying some crazy stuff to your son. And I said, what? So then towards the end of the game, I'm coming out there. I said, hey, point to which one said something to you. He says, Dad, I can't. People are watching. We can't afford that.
Smart kid.
Wow.
I mean, right when he said that, it just diffused everything.
Yep.
He was like, he said, we can't afford that.
Dad, I'm the adult.
People are watching.
Yep.
And it just calmed me down right away.
And you must have been, I mean, that had to be a proud moment for you.
Well, not yet. It was a proud moment. It probably helped me take my nap later on. It was a proud moment later. It was a proud moment later.
Yeah, I get it.
So,
the thing I want to talk about, it's not that I made a new friend. It's just that there's a guy that I've known for the past couple of years who lived down in Oregon. I've only seen him a couple of times, and so recently he and his wife moved up to Everett.
Oh,
and we hung out on Saturday, and I had a little bit of this feeling of like, dude, I feel like we got to catch up on like the past 30 years that we didn't spend together. And that feeling of, it's not too often, that feeling of kind of getting a new friend, somebody that you really feel that kind of tremendous connection with. He's a very creative dude. He's got a great sense of humor. I can tell that we already will fuel each other well from that kind of creative avenue. But I couldn't help but think of the other side of it, which is that I already have a bunch of friends who I know would love to spend more time with me. How do I feel around kind of the guilty feeling of like, well, you know, I'd like to spend time with them as well, but I'm also just really enjoying sort of what this new relationship with this friend has to offer, and having that feeling of what's it kind of like when you get a new friend after, you know, partway through your life.
Yeah, I don't have any new friends.
Really?
No, I don't. I really don't. I think everybody's. I think that when you get older, you kind of keep everybody. This is gonna sound rude. Not in their place, but just where they are.
Yeah.
Like I have my work friends, right? Like that I see on you guys I see on a constant basis. I have my kids. I have some of the parents right there, and I have associates that I talk to, and
you start putting people into little boxes.
Yeah, I pretty much. I really think that I'm not as social as people might think that I am outside of
or
here.
maybe that you used to be.
Or that I used to be.
Yeah, I think that's something maybe that's part of what I'm wrestling with as well. Is that I'm just not nearly as social as I used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I'm just getting a little bit more cagey about my time and kind of how I'm going to be spending it. But I think in particular now with this good friend of mine that's moved up here, I have that when faced with the idea of I could either go spend time with somebody who I know exactly what they're about and I'm really enjoying spending time with them, or I can kind of scratch another itch of going and spending time with somebody that I don't see that often that I know they would also really appreciate it as well.
Yeah.
All I would say about that is that there's, I think the older you get, the more conscious you are of the time that you have
and who you want to spend
and who you want to spend it with.
Yeah.
And it becomes very much a balancing act. Do I want to be here because I know that there are these things that I may or may not be in love with, or over here, this is kind of new and interesting, and I'd like to, invest some time in that. It becomes much more of a balancing act or weighing positive benefits.
253 text in before we get to you, DB. I saw that. 253 text in and says, "What's on my mind? I'm almost 50 and I've completely wasted my life."
Oh.
There's no crying in baseball. They said that.
That is sad.
I don't believe that. I believe that whoever that person is, I believe they have a good sense of humor.
Hope so.
And I believe they got a good life. But I don't know. But they texted and said that. DB?
Well, what was on my mind was just some dumb, self-indulgent baloney about my car. But what you brought up, Drew, about sort of friends and prioritizing time with friends actually makes me really think about something I was wrestling with this weekend, which was I spent a good amount of time this weekend with my girlfriend, as opposed to in my regular apartment where my roommate is my best friend, and I, as of late, over the past couple of weeks, have not been seeing him much. Our work schedules haven't been lining up, and on days that we do have off, I'll be spending it with my girlfriend, and I have been really struggling with, do I owe it to him as the best friend I've ever had to spend more time with him, and or is that patronizing to him? He's an adult person and he has his own likes and interests, and am I inflating it? Am I inflating myself to think that he needs my friendship at the moment? And is it, I don't know. I was really kind of struggling with feeling really guilty for not seeing this person who I love very dearly, but also struggling with, why am I trying to push it? We're best friends. We're going to continue to be best friends. We literally live with each other. And so I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I guess that's why you don't have a what's on your mind right off the top of your head. But I don't know. I was just kind of really struggling with defining what makes me a good friend to someone.
I would say that I think that's an interesting problem, and I think everybody has, at some point or another, had to deal with how do you juggle a relationship with friendship. And I would say that if this person is truly your best friend and really kind of cares for your personal happiness will make them happy.
Nah.
Oh.
Nah.
She's having none of it.
Nah. Yeah, man, look, if that's your dude, that's your guy, that's your best friend, man, your best friend misses you a little bit. You guys probably used to do some other things, whether it's video games or comic books or Legos, whatever y'all into. But
all of the above.
Right. Look, best friends don't want to admit it, but we all kind of do that a little bit. We kind of so you're going somewhere, okay. All right. Yeah, so, hey, hit them up and be like, hey, yo, look, hey, tomorrow, man, hey, let's do this.
And as you say that, I remember we did make a plan for next Saturday. We're just going to hang out, just the two of us. I think we're going to go on a big hike and stuff. So it's
nice.
It's going to be good.
Just the two of us.
Oh, no.
We can make... Okay, sorry.
It's all right.
Coming up next, Stacey, Joe, and Maura Dooley come in to talk sports. Seahawks and Mariners. You listen to KIRO Nights. G. Scott.